Hello and welcome to the Daves I Know. That is Dave Cox.
And that's Dave Woodard.
Sorry, it's been some time since we've actually done a podcast.
It has. The being a grown-up fucking sucks. Right?
It sucks in a lot of ways, but it's okay in some things. But yeah, we've been. I know you've been busy with work. I've been traveling my ass off. I just I gotta mention this. I just got back from tattooing on the Summer of '99 Creed cruise.
Yes. We've got to talk about that.
Yeah, we will. So first of all, thank you to Ben Thomas and from Golden Rooster, local tattoo shop here, and my new friend Shay, the owner of Liberty Tattoo in Atlanta, for getting me on that thing. It was kind of a last minute thing. They had somebody drop out. Apparently Shay, he's he's done. When I talked to him about it, he's done like 6 cruises in the last 6 weeks.
Wow.
So they're like the tattoo shop that's on there.
Yeah.
I think it's 6-man production that puts on all the music cruises. This happened to be the bands on this were Creed, Three Doors Down, Dishwalla, Tonic, Buck Cherry. It wasn't. It wasn't Veruca Salt, but it was like the singer from Veruca Salt and a backup band.
Right.
Who else? I have to read the list, but there was a lot of bands. There was like 10 bands, and they did 2 cruises. I did the first one, and the second one they just finished up. They already had a tattooer there to cover the spot, so I didn't get to go on that one. But I will be doing those more often because, dude, first of all, it was busier than shit. Like right. I tattooed nonstop. I haven't tattooed like that in a long time.
Yeah,
long time.
That's what it was like when I went on a Virgin cruise last February, and Virgin has a tattoo shop on their ship
I figured.
all the time.
Yeah,
and the shop that they were alternating between 2 shops, and the shop that was on when we were there were guys from the UK.
Oh, okay, interesting.
And they're on it all the time.
Yeah.
To the point where he's like, I make more the weeks I'm here than I do at home.
Yeah, dude.
So him and his wife, I think, does piercing and then does the booking on the ship.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's a tattoo artist, and there were 2 other artists too. And they were telling us, so like the people with the cruise, like if you want a tattoo, as soon as you get on board, make an appointment because the 4 days are going to fill up within a couple hours.
We were just doing walk-ups, and we would do it daily as opposed to like getting it booked up for 4 days in a row.
Right.
And we were booked up within an hour.
Wow.
Like hour and 20 minutes. And it was like it was a 4-day cruise. The first day like shop hours were like 6 to midnight. The next day was noon to 8. The next day was 6 to midnight, and then noon to 8 again the following day. I had never been.
I'm engineering on the fly.
Yeah, of course, this is what we do. Yeah. He engineers, I just talk shit. I could not believe how busy I was on that show, and it was cool because I was with a really cool crew. It was me and Shay. Like I said, I just met him. He's the owner of Liberty. That place has been around forever. Ben Thomas, which you know Ben.
Yeah, I know the name. I don't know him, but
he totally fucking rules. I love him to death. Who's another gentleman that we don't see eye to eye on stuff.
Right.
So that, again, shows you that you can be friends and hang out and not have to totally agree on every aspect in the world. And Brittany Elliott.
Okay.
She was tattooing as well, and so it was a dream crew. Then I met a girl named Sophia. She's from Santiago, Chile. And Steve, I forgot Steve's last name, but he was the counter guy. But he'd never done counters. He's a bartender. He owns a bar right across the street from Liberty in Atlanta. And he was badass.
Yeah.
I said, like all weekend, me, him, and Shay were just going, mana, do, 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 mana, do, 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 do. That was like the theme of the weekend, man. So, who do you remember the shop that was on the cruise that you?
No, I'll put it in the show notes.
Okay.
I can't remember.
Right on.
They were awesome though.
Cool.
Diane and I both got a little banger tattoo because anytime we travel, we try to get tattoos wherever we're going.
Absolutely.
And just a memento of the travels. So we did that. But there were people, it was a 4-day cruise or 5 total. Yeah. and there were people getting work done. Like they had an
Really?
appointment on the first day and the last day, and they were getting,
that.
you know, like big like, pieces like that.
We definitely did some, not large. We were actually doing more bangers, like maybe took like a couple hours at the most.
Yeah.
Like Brittany definitely did some bigger tattoos. She tattooed one guy for like, he got multiple tattoos. She tattooed him for like 6 hours. But nobody got to do a lower back Creed tattoo,
Dude,
but I did.
The picture of that.
I did. That guy lives in Denton too.
Does he really?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
shit.
Well, he ran it. We were in the hall. We were coming out of our room, and he ran into Ben, and he was like, "Oh, hey!" They kind of recognized each other, and Ben was like, "Oh, I did that." It was like a panther on his leg. He's like, "I did that tattoo," and he did it on maybe one of the last cruises that they were on, something like that.
Right.
And he yeah. So Ben was actually supposed to do the champ stamp, which, by the way, if a gentleman gets a lower back tattoo, it's a champ stamp.
Fuck yeah.
If a woman, it's a tramp stamp. We all know the lexicon. It's all good. But Ben was a little out of it that day. I won't go into details, but he got his party on early that day because we didn't start the shift till 6 o'clock.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, we docked at the Bahamas. Which, by the way, here's something interesting. It is illegal to wear camouflage in the Bahamas.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I did not know that. I don't wear camo, but Steve, the counter guy, he had camouflage pants, and we were leaving the ship, and one of the when they check your room key and all this, when you go in and out. I don't know if anybody's ever done a cruise. This was my first one, so all this shit was all new to me. But when you leave, they beep your room key to make sure that it's really you and all that stuff. And the guy kind of looked at him and was like, "Oh man, you shouldn't be wearing that." And we were like, "Yeah, okay, haha," we're leaving. And then somebody from outside that was just probably on the cruise was like, yelled over it. It's like, "Hey man, camouflage is illegal in the Bahamas."
What the fuck?
I was just like, "Hey man, just go fucking change. Like, let's not."
Yeah, we don't
like. I mean, it's.
You don't want to test the water.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I definitely don't want to test those waters. I mean, I was already petrified being on the water. Like I said, my first cruise and I was deathly afraid of getting seasick.
Yeah, me too. When I went last year,
I did. Now, people told me that the waters were calm, and I did not feel like I was on a boat.
Yeah, it really doesn't. And we still brought, because last February on the Virgin Cruise I went on, that was our first and only one we've been on.
Okay.
So we brought the Dramamine, like dissolvables, and we're like, I don't want to find out, so I'm just going to take that every day.
Sure.
Like the non-drowsy kind. And it was mostly calm except for one night.
Okay.
And it was a night where they were having like this, they were going to have like this big Cirque du Soleil thing with like aerial acrobats in this big ass room.
Yeah.
We're like, sweet, we'll go down there and check that out. Well, that was the only time I could feel the ship moving, and it was leaning left to right.
Really? So it must have been kind of a storm going on.
They had to cancel the acrobat thing.
Wow.
Because I guess if they threw them and then the ship tilted, they'd land somewhere else. I don't know. And so they made it just
Damn, that would have been not. Yeah. I mean,
it would have been
unforgiving for the acrobats, but boy, that would have been pretty cool to see.
So they did like just a dance party kind of thing,
okay.
And it was so fucking rough that it was crammed full of people. So there's probably like 600-700 people in this room, and everybody's dancing, and it looked like coordinated like electric slide, where the ship would list to one side and everyone on the dance floor is like going this way and then back the other way.
Choreographed.
And that's the only time I felt a little sick. And I did that for about 45 minutes. It's like, I gotta go. I can't do this.
Did you hear if there was a storm or not, or
like storm miles away?
Okay.
And it was enough to churn the sea up that night. And then by the next morning it was windy, but it was fine though.
Where did the cruise take off and go to?
This one left from Miami. And then it went to somewhere in Mexico, maybe Playa del Carmen. I don't remember. And then Roatan, Honduras.
Okay, wow.
And then Bimini, Bahamas.
Wow. So ours left from Miami as well, which that was a pretty cool sight to see. Like all these huge cruise ships, like all these big hotels on the water, pretty much, man, floating hotels. And this ship was big. Dude, and this is on the Norwegian Pearl, and people told me that this was one of the smaller boats.
Yeah.
No, I'd never been on one, so I didn't have anything to gauge it by. So, man, I was the first couple days I was definitely getting lost and kind of like, but I got to, and again, thank you to Shay and Liberty Tattoo and Six Man Productions for literally treating us like rock stars on there.
Hell yeah.
I mean, we had our own like chill lounge with an awesome food spread, all the free beer you wanted, and I definitely indulged. All that, we had a writer, we had like bottles of tequila, Jameson, and
Jesus.
like, I mean, it was crazy, dude.
So you saying you'd do it again?
I'm definitely doing it again. If I'm invited, Shay, if you're listening, if I'm definitely gonna go if I'm invited and plus it was fun. I love doing tattoo conventions, but they tend to be a little. I guess it could be a little cliquey. I mean, usually it's 400 tattooers, 500 tattooers, so people kind of. But I always run into old homies at conventions, and I love that aspect of it. I usually do pretty well at a convention, But when you go to a convention, I mean, you're already like $2,000 in.
Yeah,
plane tickets, hotel, like you're gonna drop food money,
and there's a lot of artists to choose from. So
like usually the ones I did are big because I did one in Hampton, Virginia. That was the last one I did, and I did well. But then there was like. I mean, I swear it must have been like 400 tattooers. Mm-hmm. And a lot of these places, not the people that put on the Hampton one so much or the Virginia Beach one, which is the same company, but a lot of these convention promoters, like they're adding more and more like vendors.
Okay.
So it's kind of like if people are going to spend, I mean, I get it. I mean, you need different stuff. I mean, I understand that, but it's like if it's overrun by, too many vendors, like nobody's gonna have money to get fucking tattooed, man.
Right? Yeah, that's true. Would you go on a cruise as a paying passenger after doing one?
Would because I had a good time. So here's the funny thing: my wife Melissa was like, she's like, I will never ever ever get on a fucking boat ever. And I was kind of with her on that. Like I agreed with her, and we fly all the fucking time. So I was, like I said, I was more afraid of getting seasick. She's more afraid of the boat sinking.
Okay.
And I get it. I mean, because boats do sink.
They sink.
And her other aspect of that is there's sharks in the water, and sharks will eat you. So she's like, yeah, I'm not going on a fucking cruise. But I told her how awesome this one was, and how it wasn't. Feeling wise, I didn't feel seasick. I didn't feel, and I brought the so I got the Dramamine. Then I got like another brand of shit, and then I got the wristbands.
Yeah, just cover all the bases.
I wanted to make sure, man.
Yeah.
Because the last thing I want to do is be tattooed and be like,
Right. It was wild. Like I was never interested in cruises, and then we had talked about taking one out of like a trial one out of Galveston, and then I talked to people who are like, hey, it's like. Galveston's fine, but those aren't like the top of the line ships,
right?
So a group of several friends of ours wanted to do one. Right. And we're like, okay, well, if I'm going to go on one, I think I want it to be Virgin Cruise because it's 21 and up.
Yeah.
So because I didn't know if I was going to like it, and I didn't want children running around screaming if I was also not having fun.
Yeah, parents suck.
It's funny, like we enjoyed it while we're there, like it was fun on the ship. And then the thing that Diane and I both liked about it is that the ports that we stopped at are places that I've been interested in going to, but I wouldn't go to Honduras for a week.
Sure.
But I want to see Honduras.
Sure. Like a day, right? Or how many hours are you off the boat? Like
off the boat at 8 a.m. and back at 4 or something like that. So, on one hand, we got to see Bahamas. We go to Mexico a lot, so that was fine, but we'd never been to that city. So that was cool, like touching places that we wouldn't just deliberately go. Yeah. The downside is like I like to immerse in a town.
Sure. Yeah. You want to really check out.
You don't get to do that. Like in Honduras, we got off the ship and then we took a car to this wildlife refuge, held a sloth, had monkeys trying to steal my hat, and then had drinks somewhere and then back at the ship.
Right.
But it was still cool. And then even when we got back, we were talking about it. I was like, I asked her, I was like, would you go on another one? She's like, it was fun, but I don't think so.
Yeah.
And then that was last February, so a little over a year ago. And as the time has gone on, like a month or so ago, we were just kind of shooting the shit about it. So we have another friend who wants to go on a cruise now. Right. And I was like, what do you think? She's like, it was kind of cool.
Yeah.
And so we might do another one, but I don't know.
So
We'll
I went on a rabbit hole and looked up a bunch of music cruises coming up, and there's a shit ton.
That is the thing now,
dude. It is, and they're going to make this Creed one an annual one.
No shit.
So I will go. Yeah, definitely going to go. Because I had a good time, like, and I'm interested to see what other bands come. Because they'll definitely bring like late '90s kind of bands.
Yeah.
And like I said, that wasn't really my cup of tea. But the bands I got to see, they all sounded pretty awesome. I met Matt Pinfield. Like,
yeah.
He was super cool. I was wearing a Black Flag shirt, and he was like talking to somebody. He just kept looking over at me, and I'm just like, yeah, gave him the nod, and he got done talking. He came right over to me. He's like, oh, I've known those guys since like 82, 81, and I did an interview with them, and we just sat there and talked shit, and just talked about music, talked about old punk rock days, and I told him, I was like, you got a couple years on me. He's like, yeah, a few.
Was he emceeing stuff, or
no,
was he just there?
I think he's got a podcast, or a show, like a YouTube show, I think, where him and another guy do like interview stuff. He was super cool, man. And I thought him and his girlfriend were actually going to come down and get tattooed, but I'm sure they got wrapped up and stuff like that. Yeah. I tattooed Creed's one of the, not Creed the band, but a couple of the members, their PR guy. It was super cool. He was like really, really cool. And I desperately wanted to show him the Creed Shreds video, the YouTube. I'm sure by now all those guys have, yeah, what are you gonna do? We're gonna do. I'm sure by now all those guys have seen that shit. It's too funny. I mean, hopefully they have a sense of humor and cracked up about it. But yeah, I mean, and then before that, I was up in I said I was in Peoria, Illinois, which is a really cool town.
Yeah,
I was up there working at Freedom Ink Tattoo, which is really, really cool place. And before that, I was at Permanent Vacation, which is St. Charles, Missouri. Awesome tattooers, just really cool people. Like, they just made me feel right at home.
Nice.
And I just love traveling. Now, I was my wife wasn't with me because she usually goes with me, so I kind of felt lost a little.
Right.
Like I do. If my wife's not with me, I feel lost, dude.
Yeah, I need someone to tell me what to do.
Pretty much. But then when I'm at home, don't tell me what to do,
Right.
It's kind of like that thing. But yeah, man, it's been all right. Had a little scare before I got onto the boat. My mother had a mini stroke. She's okay. But it definitely threw me off.
Yeah, as it would when you're waiting to get on a ship and you're going to be unavailable for 4
literally
days.
Getting in an Uber to go to the boat.
Yeah.
Like, I was just like,
man.
But then I heard she was up and she was okay. So, thanks for all your well wishes if you're giving them. So that kind of threw me off a little bit. But once you get on the boat, you're in like work mode. Once you get in work mode, it's kind of like because, dude, I tattooed my ass off on that thing.
Yeah,
I tattooed so much. Like, it had been a long time, and I got to do a Creed lower back tattoo.
I was going to say, do you have a favorite tattoo that you did?
Oh yeah, that one for sure. Like that. I mean, the champ stamp that guy. I mean, obviously you got it as a joke. I mean, that wasn't like, and the guy from God, Brittany's gonna kill me for forgetting this, but I forgot that there's another guy on there who's got a pretty popular YouTube channel. He interviews a lot of bands. Rock something. I can't. I feel like an idiot for not remembering this. But he was on the boat. Brittany ended up tattooing him, and he ended up posting that on I think it's Rock Feed. I think it's called Rock Feed. He was actually a really, really cool guy. And so that was funny. I was reading the comments. The comments, if you really want to know how fucked up the country is, just read comments on any post or any like news story. Like, you'll see how stupid fucking people are, man.
Yeah.
And how they just bicker and But yeah, it was quite interesting, man.
But I was kind of, when I saw it, I was in a way hoping it wasn't ironic.
There was definitely some irony there.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear it was, but I was also hoping that that some dude just really
I want to get a lower back. Where do you want it? Right there. I'm like, thank you.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say. I mean, as soon as when somebody told me that, I was just like, I looked at him, I was like, fuck yeah, dude. Fuck yeah. Of course I'm doing this.
Yes.
I got video of me doing it too. Maybe we could splice it in there somehow. I don't know, like on the show.
Yeah, I can add that in.
Cool.
Yeah, I can superimpose it on there.
Cool.
I think.
Cool.
Yeah, so with I've been curious about the music cruises because there's the Creed one now. I think the OG, it was the Motorhead motorboat cruise.
Yeah, and Ben did that one, and he said it was awesome. There's one coming up, I believe, in October, and I'm crossing my fingers to hopefully get on this. It's the Headbangers one.
Okay.
Fucking Lamb of God, Death Clock.
Jesus.
He'll probably be on there too. Jesus. No.
Yeah.
Napalm Death.
Wow.
Corrosion of Conformity. Unearthed. Local Frozen Soul will be on there.
Really?
Local guys, yeah.
Wow.
I was stoked to see that. So a slew of other bands. I have to read the list. I mean, there's a lot of bands that play these things, and there's usually like one main stage over in the outside pool area, but they have all these different halls, like kind of concert halls, where it's kind of like stadium seating.
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of the other bands play as well, and they play like every fucking day.
Yeah, they do. I have some. Their one that's real big now is the Outlaw Cruise.
Oh, the
like,
country one.
Outlaw Country one, and
Shay does that one too.
Fantastic Dallas band for people that aren't in Dallas. The Vandaliers.
They're going to be.
They were on the last one, and I think they're going again on the next one too. And they had a blast, and like they played on the main stage once, then they're playing in the small clubs. Like it was just nonstop. My thing,
yeah,
those sound interesting to me, and at the same time, there's no way to say this without sounding snobby. Do I want to be around? Like, I love all kinds of music.
Yeah.
Do I want to be basically stuck at a concert with all the people that like the same bands I do for 4 days? Because I just kind of like to dip in and like, yeah, fuck yeah, this is a great show, and then like, okay, and then
let's go down the street and see what's going on down there.
Like, do I want to be at a 96-hour concert? I don't know.
96 fucking hours. I have to admit, everybody I tattooed was super fucking cool. Like, they were just awesome. They were there like reliving some memories with these bands, you know what I mean? Like I forget how long ago like 1999 was.
No shit. Yeah.
I'm like, nah, that was like 3 years, almost 30. What? Oh my God.
People that were into these bands in the late 90s have adult children now.
Yeah.
You know.
And some of them they were with it, some of them were with them.
Right.
So but everybody I met was super cool. I don't think there was any troublemakers on the boat. This one, nobody jumped off the boat.
That's good news.
The last Headbangers one, somebody jumped off the fucking boat.
Oh fuck! Did they find him?
No,
I don't think so. That usually doesn't work out. Where like whenever you hear someone fell off or jumped off a boat, you usually go, "But they scooped him up." You don't ever hear that.
You have a 19%. I mean, first of all, you're gone. Like if you jump off that boat. Now it depends on what deck, but any deck, like you hit cement. That water's like cement. And then you're probably going to get sucked under the boat.
Yeah, so you're going through the rudder more than likely anyway.
So like from what I understand, you have a 19% chance of survival if you fall or jump off the boat. I'm personally petrified of heights.
Me too.
So I Barry was like, "Hey, come over here." I'm like, "Yeah, the view looks great from over here at my table. Looks well." Even at the table, I was still like, "Oh." But I was glad I didn't get sick. So that was a fun time. But I will definitely. If I'm invited, I'm definitely going to do more cruises because I just had such a good time. What else has been going on? You watch State of the Union 3 months ago?
Yeah, exactly. I watched as much of it as I could.
Boy, they gave him some Red Bull, didn't they?
Holy fuck! He
was on fire, dude.
They had to balance off a little bit, like because I feel like at least in the last 2 years, maybe the whole time. They've been carefully balancing his I'm going to be in public talking.
Yeah. They have to.
And we got to make sure he's on fire tonight. And I think whatever that part of it was, the cocktail, they did a little too much of it.
They gave him a couple Red Bulls. You know, I know Trump was talking about, we have to do a drug test for the debates. That's silly. He's not doing blow. That would fucking kill the man like that. It would blow his heart up. But, you know, I'm sure Hunter's doing plenty. But, because we talk some political stuff here because we always decide we're going to talk about that too.
Yeah.
And like I said, we always try to keep it organic, so we want to keep this natural, let it flow. But
yes, you may or may not notice we never have show notes.
Yeah.
Shocking as it is.
Yeah. You never see me kind of like look down here. And, well, one thing is, but I watched as much as I can stomach too, and it was. There were some points he made that I actually agreed with. I agreed with the fact that he had a conservative write up a border bill.
Right.
And like one of the most conservative from Oklahoma. I forgot the senator's name. Do you remember?
Shit.
Do you know his name? You remember his name?
No, I don't.
If we saw it, I'm sure if we Googled it, we can do that. Now, obviously, I didn't read 500 million pages of this stuff, but what I understand, and this is what I'm gathering from what legit news sources there might be out there, it was pretty damn conservative. Like, it was pretty much giving the Republicans everything that they wanted over the last couple of years, and because Donald Trump was like, no, it's not going to be good for my reelection, he told him to tank it. So that's kind of a bummer, because it's like, if we want to do something about the border, which we do need to do something about the border, we shouldn't be playing political games like this. I get it. It's an election year. You got to do what you got to do to try to fucking win, because that's the name of the game. I mean, nobody has integrity when it comes to the fucking election year.
Right.
Nobody.
Yep.
I don't give a fuck. But I was kind of bummed to see that. So let's talk about the State of the Union rebuttal.
Holy fuck.
I literally thought I was watching an SNL skit.
It looked like it. It looked like it. And as someone who leans conservative, even though I consider myself libertarian.
No, I get it.
I'd never really heard of it. I'd heard of this person, but never seen her speak before.
Yeah.
I was like, what the
Mr.
fuck is
President? Like, dude, it was like so dramatic. Oh, and by the way, here's a little tidbit of news. She helped write the border bill, and she voted against it.
Right.
I don't understand. That's what bothers me is, and that's been going on a lot when it came to the infrastructure bill that did pass, but all the Republicans that voted against it are now taking credit for the money that their city's getting.
Yeah, and the thing that I'm the most frustrated with these days, recent years, is it seems like the only bipartisan thing that they'll agree on is how many billions of dollars we're going to send to another fucking country.
Yeah.
Like, they agree on that.
Yeah, no problem.
Let's send all the money to Ukraine and Israel and all this. They agree on that, but help keeping us safe.
Yeah.
That's when they play politics.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. It's like, I just don't get that stuff. And I was I was looking up some just like past history stuff, because it's almost kind of it's well known, or I thought, that Republicans are better for the economy. They make more jobs, this and that. They actually don't. They actually, if you look at the last 40 years of the presidency, of administrations, it was Democrats that added more jobs to the economy during their tenure.
No shit.
Yes. Now, I'm not saying that they don't spend a lot of money, because they do. They have a lot of social things they spend money on.
Right.
But it's not any different than like up in the, the defense bill that Republicans do, or given like these fucking ultra billionaires like tax breaks they think it's still going to trickle down. I think at this point we know that that's a bullshit concept.
Yeah.
It just is.
In the bigger picture it is, but I still understand the general concept that this is if you can eliminate corporatism from capitalism. Support capitalism, corporatism can fuck off.
Yeah. Welfare system for them.
If companies are healthy, and selling their shit, they can hire more people, pay them better. So that's like one branch of the trickle down thing.
Sure.
And I think that was the intent of trickle down economics back in the
80s, Reagan era, yeah.
But it ended up kind of twisting into a corporatist thing where it's going to be a welfare program for giant companies that don't need it. Yeah. So I think the intent was good originally, but corporations are so ingrained in lobbying and writing policy and all that now that I don't know how to untangle it.
That's the thing. I think that's what's fucking everything up. It's like, fuck Republican, Democrat, whatever. It's like, it's the fact that like it's lobbyists that are kind of in corporate America that's like kind of running shit.
Yeah.
Because it's like, hey, if you do this for us, we'll give you this much money for your campaign.
Yep.
And all your other campaigns and everything like that. That's why I think public funding is more important. I think we need to get corporate funding and shit out of the elections. It gets sad. I mean, it's sad. I mean, if the public funds you, then you really know who people support and who they don't support.
Right.
And
corporations are donating to campaigns on both sides.
Oh, absolutely, 100%.
Because they don't give a fuck.
No,
who wins.
100%.
They want to buy whoever's going to win.
Yeah, so it's like Coke versus Sprite. It's owned by the same company.
Right. Exactly. So. And I'm sick now of the kind of the mental gymnastics and the numbers game. Like you were talking about jobs, and I keep seeing Biden claiming the most job growth and since he's been president in the history of blah blah blah. It's like, yes, but you took over in January of 2021 at the height of COVID, when a bunch of fucking people were sitting at home and not working.
Not working, yeah.
So yeah, you've had a lot of job growth since you took office because our economy was 2/3 of the way down the fucking toilet when you took over. Yeah. So yeah, everyone got to go back to work.
Yeah,
congratulations, good fucking job.
And a lot of people they're working 2 jobs.
Yeah,
a lot of people. But it is good to see that unemployment is low. I mean, I'm glad. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, there's stipulations to that. I mean, it's just like when Trump came in office. Like, he came in with a good economy. It wasn't a horrible economy.
Yeah. It got better. But it was on its way up.
But it was on its way up. I mean, even with Obama, it's like, he gets some credit because it was a growth, but it was a very slow growth. Yeah, and that was because we came out of the Bush years. And the Bush years, I mean, dude, when he left office, he was at 20%.
Yeah,
likable rate. Yeah, I mean, like nobody like he kind of fucked the economy up, man. Like, obviously, we were at war and stuff like that.
Yep.
And now we have other social issues with like on the college campuses, all the kids protesting, which I'm in favor of that. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just and I try not to take sides on Israel or Palestine or anything like that because I'm not there. I mean, I know history.
Yeah,
I know that Palestine has tried to take over Israel multiple times,
right,
and can't do it. Now Israel could wipe Palestine off the map, but won't do it.
Right.
So. Right. They both are committing fucking war crimes. They're both killing women and children. Like, let's not play the game of like one's doing more than the other. It's war.
Yeah, I tried to boil it down this way, and this might or might not be fair, but at this point, no one else gives a fuck about facts anyway. So why should I? is that there's this tangled history behind it. However, there are two points. One, there's one country that their goal is to exist.
Yeah.
And there's another group whose goal is to completely eliminate the other.
Yes.
So
from the river to the sea. That's what that means. That's what that means.
For me, if I'm picking sides, the right to exist versus exterminating an entire race of people, because at what point, I feel like Israel's backed into a corner, even if they created some of this mess.
Sure.
And they did.
And they did.
They have a hand in it.
100%. 100%.
If they know that their enemy wants them to not exist at all anymore as people, as a race,
right?
What reason do they have to stop?
Yeah,
because they're not just defending themselves against this attack; they're defending themselves against a group that wants all of them dead.
Right.
And then the other part of that I think about is, I'm hearing all the people say like, all these Palestinians are dying, and these, and yes, it's awful.
It's terrible,
and it's a tremendous amount of innocent people dying. But the funny thing is, from the Palestine and these Hamas supporters at college, which just baffles me. But they're calling like, this has to stop. This has to stop. They're killing our people. They're killing our people. It's like, just because if you start a fight and then get your ass kicked.
Yeah.
That doesn't make you the good guy.
No, not at all. It
just means you picked a fight with a bully that's too big for you,
I think the deal is with a lot of, I'd say young adults now, is they have to find something to latch on to have a cause and stuff. I get it. I'm not down. I'm not putting down anybody's passion or something like that, but I think it's ignorance of history.
Yeah.
It really is. I mean, if you look at, like, I implore you to look at history of like Palestine versus Israel, and like I said, I'm not jumping on either team because I'm not Palestinian or Israeli. So it's I mean, I have my opinions on them, but it all has to do with history.
Right.
It has to do with history, and from the river to the sea, that means exterminating. That's what that means. That means getting rid of an entire race of people.
And the thing that's more, and especially. Like we've talked about this before, where everybody for some reason wants a binary choice: you're left or you're right.
Yeah,
you're this or you're that.
Right.
But in this case, and I think it's why people are getting so confused about it and grabbing onto the wrong thing. In my mind, there are three things: there's Israel, there's Palestinian people, and there's Hamas.
Yeah,
and I can want Israeli Jews to be safe.
Yeah.
I can want Palestinians to have a place to live.
Absolutely.
And I can want Hamas exterminated.
Yeah.
And people have lumped Palestinians and Hamas together.
Yeah.
So that if I say I support Israel's right to exist,
yeah,
then that automatically means you're a Zionist, you're this, that you want all the Palestinian people to die. It's like, no, I don't.
No.
I want Hamas to stop using Palestinians as human shields.
Yes.
So it's this kind of three-way thing. And, and people aren't real good at critical thinking anymore. So they can't wrap their head around, oh, this is nuanced.
Right.
So what does that mean?
Very, very polarized, just as everything is in the country now.
Yeah.
And it's I think, especially for people that like, this wasn't even on their radar 6 months ago.
Yeah.
They didn't give a shit about what was it. And that's just been going on over there for thousands of years.
Yes.
It's not like new.
No,
it's just you have more resources of video and, you know, little soundbite clips and stuff like that. And I respect people's right to protest. I would never take that away, because I respect that, because I am an advocate of the First Amendment of the Constitution. That is one of the most important things of the First Amendment of the Constitution.
Yeah, and what have we've talked about the key to that, to the First Amendment, is it's easy to support people that are protesting for something you agree with.
Yes.
But the success of the First Amendment is someone I completely disagree with having a vocal opinion and protesting and supporting their right to do that.
Their right to do it.
And the thing that's gotten messy now is that separation of protest versus riot, damage, occupation, and all that. So the kids that are out there with banners, even if their banners say shit that I don't believe in, if they're gathered on a campus or in the street and they're just marching and protesting, fine.
Absolutely.
I think you're misguided, but whatever.
But that's your opinion on that, and that's my opinion on that.
I'm a conservative, and I had a Greenpeace sticker on my car when I was 17. So, people do dumb shit.
People, things change a little bit. So, but that's the thing. It's like I think it's just, I wish people would do a little history, because I've talked to somebody about stuff. They're like, "Oh, I wasn't alive back then." It's like, well, I wasn't alive during the French Revolution, but I know about it. Yeah, I do know about it. Like, it's now whether all that history is true or not, that's a whole nother rabbit hole to go down, because things get over years. You know what I mean? They get tangled in a web of lies and non-truths and semi-truths and stuff like that.
Right.
That makes as much sense as when I see like bumper stickers on America, love it or leave it, and then on the same secede from the Texas, secede from the Union. Like, wait a minute, dude.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Yeah. Or on the other side, you have a coexist sticker and a fuck Trump sticker.
Yeah, right.
Something like that.
Yeah. Coexist, except for that.
Yeah, but both teams have their hypocrisy going on.
Man, it was funny, dude. Like, like I said, I don't try to watch news too much, but we are in election year, so I have to kind of gander at it every now and then and stuff. And both those guys are looking really bad.
They are.
Like, Biden looks pretty much, he's just looks the same decrepit, but Trump looks bad. He's actually finally aged.
Yeah, he was the same look for like 15 years.
Yeah.
And then just,
because we aged while he was in office.
True. Yeah, that's
stole that from Bill Maher. So stole that line from Bill Maher. But I think the court proceedings and everything start, whether it doesn't matter which way you agree with it or don't agree with it, it's starting to wane on him a little bit.
Yeah,
it's starting to bang him down a little bit, and he looks bad, and he's very confused in his speeches lately at his rallies. Like, he's kind of like fucking all over. Like, I think he did you hear what he was talking about, the Gettysburg Address? Was the Gettysburg Address, or was it, what fight was the Battle of Gettysburg?
Battle of Gettysburg. Yeah. The crazy thing is, he could say anything, and I don't know if it even matters anymore. And that he's much more vibrant than Biden.
Yeah,
but he's also almost 80.
So he is. Yes, they're both within 5 years of each other. They're both within 3 years of each other.
That's why I think one of the keys in this election, because it is such a dead heat.
Yeah,
I think who Trump selects as his VP candidate will make or break who wins.
Sure.
And there've been some rumblings lately that I'm intrigued by, and some of my traditional Republican friends don't like this, but I'm not a Republican, so I don't give a fuck. Is a name that's come up just in the last few days is Tulsi Gabbard.
Oh, yeah.
And
so I kind of heard that.
yeah, so and I saw an interview with her yesterday.
Yeah.
And she was directly asked, if Trump called you and said, "I want you to be my VP candidate, what would you do?" And she's military.
She is military.
And she's like, "I would accept in a heartbeat because I feel a duty to serve my country if called upon."
Sure. Okay.
And she has concerns about the progressive wing of the Democrat Party.
Get that.
So she wants to try to steer things back toward the middle. And the thing that would be fascinating to me is if he did pick her, and if something happened with one of these trials while he's in office and he had to step down, or if he makes it all the way through, then usually the standing VP, when a president's second term is over, they're the ones that are queued up to run next.
Sure, absolutely.
And she's a former Democrat, current independent.
She's independent. I was about to ask, right? Independent, right?
So even if the next 4 years are rocky, regardless of who wins, there's a chance we could end up with a centrist independent running for president as a Republican or an independent. And that's where we need to get back to, because
middle of the road.
Biden was moderate, but he's let the progressive wing of the Democrat Party pull him way left. Trump is not even really a Republican if you look at it. No. He's a populist, whatever. So he's not at the core of what the Republican.
And he lets the fringe, the right wing fringe of that party kind of dictate.
Yeah,
or he kind of dictates them, really.
Yeah, and the thing that pisses me off too, and his like diehard apologists, they still talk about drain the swamp. Well, he put a former chairman of a pharma company as head of the FDA.
Yeah,
and like he put swamp and corporate people in charge of departments his first term, and if he does win this time, I would at least like to see him do a little bit more of what he said he was going to do, and not put.
Right.
If you put a pharma guy and a head of the medical side of our government, that's the opposite of the swamp.
No, it totally is, and it sucks. I hate seeing stuff that just go along party lines. I've seen like Bill Barr. I've seen Mitch McConnell say Trump is just awful. He's terrible for the country. It's dangerous. But I'm going to vote for him if he's the party. If he's it's like okay. It's like I get that. I mean, you're running with your party. I totally understand that. And that's a lot of people vote that way, and they have for like hundreds of years. Mm-hmm. Like this is nothing fucking new. It's just the way it goes. Same thing with Democrats, But I definitely think that Biden has definitely been pulled way to the left on some issues. One good thing that I saw that they are going to declassify marijuana.
I saw that.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
Right when I quit. How amazing.
Right, exactly.
Cool. Hey, I'm gonna quit this shit. What? It's legal now? Oh fuck. They're gonna drop it down to Schedule 3.
Yeah.
No, Schedule 3. I wasn't. First of all, I was very confused with the fact to see that like meth and cocaine are on Schedule 2.
2?
I thought they were on Schedule 1. Even fentanyl is on Schedule 2.
Jesus Christ! What's 1 then?
Heroin, LSD. Yeah, LSD, the fun one. That doesn't kill you.
Yeah, and the one at low doses can treat PTSD and veterans and stuff like that.
They've been doing that, yeah. And so I have to look at the full list, but that shit, it's definitely heroin, but Schedule 2 is it's like cocaine, methamphetamine, which meth is, dude, that should be fucking Schedule 1 plus. Like that's
right.
just and fentanyl, man, like that stuff is killing people left and right and just turning people into zombies, man.
Yeah, and a couple of grains of that and you're dead.
You're dead, and you don't know what the fuck. I mean, look, when I was partying, doing drugs in the 90s and stuff like that, it was just a matter of don't do too much.
Right.
Have fun, but don't do too much. Now it's just I'll take a break. Anybody getting Narcan here? You know what I mean?
Like worst case back in 80s, 90s is that you might get something, and then after you've done some of it, you find out it was laced with something else. And then it's like, this is going to be a different ride than I expected. But that was the worst thing that would happen, though. Now,
a lot of these kids are getting pressed pills that are just pressed in somebody's fucking garage or in South America or in China or something like that.
And then to circle one thing all the way back to border, talking about especially fentanyl.
Yeah.
Is that if someone's opinion is we should let anybody in that's a political refugee or looking for a better life, so the border should be open for that. I disagree, but I respect it.
Sure.
But it seems like any reasonable adult would know that a wide open border is significantly growing fentanyl coming across the border, and human trafficking.
Yeah.
So if you have an ounce of decency, yes, we need to look out for political refugees and economic refugees, but we need to protect everyone that lives here. And if you've got children and women going into sex slavery, which is happening.
It is happening.
And it's happening often going across the border.
Yes.
And fentanyl, almost all of our fentanyl is going from China to Mexico to here.
Yeah.
So
it pretty much is.
Why is that how polarized we are, where we can't go, you know what? There's extenuating circumstances right now. Why don't we pump the brakes for a minute?
Yeah, that's why I was kind of hoping that border bill would pass, because they were actually going to not close the border, but they were going to it was supposedly like a very conservative bill.
Yeah.
Everything the Republicans wanted, Democrats you got it. You got it.
And that's why I hate that it turned into politics.
Yeah,
because, and then Biden's first week in office, he undid a bunch of Trump's executive orders that was keeping traffic at a minimum at the border.
Yeah.
First day.
Yeah.
Rescind that. So then it just opened everything wide up. And now we're getting, months away from an election, and now he gives a shit.
Well, of course, it's an election year. That's why weed's being declassified, which is a good thing. These are good things. I'm not downing them, but it's just timing is kind of it always gets suspicious.
I wish they meant it.
That's me too. Me too. I mean, if you meant it and you really gave a fuck about the country and these issues, whether you agree with them or don't agree with them, it's just it's just have a heart and have some integrity in what you're actually pushing for. The border and drugs coming across. I mean, drugs have been coming across there for fucking years. I mean, I don't know if people making cocaine in America,
right?
or I don't know how many poppy fields there are in Kentucky or anything, but
probably not too many.
It's usually coming from under from the border. But I agree that there's just no integrity. It's all about just get the votes. You talk about a tight race. Isn't every election year a tight race?
Yeah,
it's always Biden's up. Trump's up, Trump's down. Biden's up, Trump's up.
Yeah, and the thing that's ridiculous too, because I'm a stats guy.
Mm-hmm.
I do statistics in my job, and engineering and shit like that. So I'm always looking at the statistics. In these fucking news stations, they'll say, Trump's ahead in all the swing states he's up by 2% here, 1% here, 3% there, and then in the fine print, margin of error 4.5%.
I was about to say, which is nothing.
So it means statistical dead heat.
And that's the thing. It's and I'm always curious of who they're polling.
Yeah,
are they polling people with landlines still?
Right. And you know what? What's crazy is RFK Jr. actually talks about that.
Okay.
Because
I hope they let him. I don't agree with a lot of what he has to say.
I don't either, but I respect him.
I hope they let him in the debates.
Yeah,
because he's going to bring up subject matters that the debate monitors won't bring up because their news networks won't let them.
Yeah,
but he will bring that shit up. As crazy as you think the guy is, or as much as you like the guy, it doesn't matter. It's he still should be heard, because the fact that that's the thing I fucking hate. The fact that they will drown out any independent on the debate stage. Yeah. He's a long shot. He's looked at as a spoiler and stuff like that. And I don't support Robert F. Kennedy, but he's got every right to get, if he's running and he's doing the work and he's put his money in to fucking get on the ballots and stuff like that, he should have every right to be on that stage to debate with them. Now, is there going to be a debate? I don't fucking know, because they're both so up and down with just the rules and bullshit like that. And if anybody remembers watching the last fucking debates from last year, Trump just screamed the whole time, and Biden just tried to make little 5-second clips. It's just ridiculous. I mean,
it's funny that the goalposts move if someone unexpected comes up.
Yeah,
because I think in prior election years, I forget the percentage, unfortunately, but if a third party candidate's polling, I'm going to be wrong, so I'll update it in the comments for this, but if a third party candidate's polling nationally over, I don't know, 15%, whatever the percentage is, somewhere around there, then there's prior years they're supposed to be automatically allowed in the debate.
They'll move that.
Yeah, and now Kennedy's polling 18 to 20%, so they're trying to change the rules.
They'll do 25.
Yeah.
Ron Paul they did that to Ron Paul.
Yep.
He was gaining a lot of attention. Ron Paul, not Rand Paul. Ron Paul.
Yep.
He was gaining a lot, and he was over 15%, or it was 10%, I believe.
Something like that.
And they changed it to 15.
Yeah.
And it's just is that really democracy? Is that really fair? Is that, I mean, like I said, whether you agree with this man or don't agree with this man or his policies or not, you know, he has a voice. He's running. He's doing the work. He should be heard. Yeah. You should hear everything, so you can like garner an opinion on this. However, not to backtrack, but it's like I'm pretty sure people are pretty set in stone who they're voting for in this election.
Yeah, I wish I was. Yeah, and I admittedly am not. Now I know who I'm not voting for.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not voting for Biden.
Right.
I won't.
Yeah.
I desperately don't want to vote for Trump.
Yeah.
And I've been kind of like RFK Jr.'s been pulling his skirt up a
sure.
little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
And then it's like, but there's just shit that I just flatly don't agree with about him. But there's shit I don't agree about with Trump.
Yeah.
And I don't agree with much about Biden.
Right.
But I hate being in that position. And then I have discussions with people all the time that, well, if you vote, you know, write in, or if you skip the presidential one and just vote down ticket, or if you vote for Kennedy, then you're giving your vote to Biden. It's like, no, I'm not.
No, you could be giving it to Trump. I mean,
plus,
you know
it's just one person, one vote. So
exactly,
I'm not influencing the fucking election.
No,
I want to not vomit the day after the election when I get up, and I don't think that it's going to be hard to avoid that this time. But
yeah, I mean,
I can't automatically say most people I know that are right, even if they don't like Trump, they're like, got to vote for him because got to keep Biden out.
Yeah,
it's like, sure, but there's a few things that one. Electoral college means you're not just counting the sum of all votes in the U.S.
Right.
Texas is almost certainly going to be red.
Yeah.
It always is on the presidential side. So even if you want to break it down this way, my one vote doesn't really matter.
Right.
So I always tell people, vote your conscience.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if people
100%.
tell you, you don't need to strategically vote. And that's the reason this duopoly was created, to convince people that, well, you know, if you don't like A, you got to vote for B, or if you vote for C, you're going to fuck A and B. You know, this whole game.
Yeah,
I'm tired of it. I'm going to vote my conscience, and I'm going to vote for whoever.
As you should.
Whoever I think is the best equipped to run things.
As you should, because that's what it is all about. And it does matter. I mean, people, oh, your vote doesn't matter. It does matter. It's like, now, I'm not in favor of the outdated electoral college. I understand its premise, but this is when there was like, you know, 13,000 people in the country. It's just like,
my biggest thing that reason I do support it is that essentially New York and Southern California would determine the outcome of the election almost every time because of the population is so concentrated.
Yeah.
So I get that with electoral college tries to make South Dakota, even though it's a ratio of electoral votes,
right,
it still makes all 50 states votes matter instead of population.
No, I get the premise of it. It just seems like such an outdated concept. Maybe they need to change some of it. I mean, you know, a place like California has 2 senators, but so does Wyoming.
Right.
I mean, should California have like maybe 4 senators? I mean, not that. I mean, it's just a more populated state, you know, and like, I disagree. I don't think New York or Southern California would dictate because a lot of Midwest, man, may not be as populated as say California or New York, but there is a lot of people there, and and it's a very like, it's kind of 50-50 in the Midwest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, man, like the Midwest people fucking rule. I was just there, and nobody gave a fuck about what your politics are. They just were like. When I was up in Peoria, people were like, how's Peoria treating you? I'm like, fucking great.
Right.
People are super friendly here, man. You know, nobody asked me who you vote for. That's what media companies want you to think is what's going on when you walk out of your house, but it's not.
Yeah. And I think we've talked about this before. Like I'll find myself getting riled up because I'll go down a rabbit hole and watch videos of the shit going on at colleges today and all this. Yep. And I was like, oh, fuck. Like you're going to walk outside and you're going to see people like throwing spears at each other and all this shit. and you wander out in the world and you go to the grocery store. You stop at Quick Trip to get a drink or whatever. And it's just people.
Yeah, just people.
And it's all just people. And then these media organizations trying to make it seem like it's us versus them.
They got to sell toothpaste.
It is us versus them, but it's all of us regular people versus the elites.
This is a class war, people.
Yeah. And I saw a graphic, and I'll put this up too, where It was like a red and blue side by side.
Mm-hmm.
Half the screen is red, half the screen is blue, and they're like, "This is what they want you to think it is," but it's actually red and blue, and then this little slice at the top, which is a different color, and that's the ultra wealthy corporations, lobbyists, and they're on both sides.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's not really left versus right; it's more top versus bottom.
It is top versus bottom.
And I'm not a top versus bottom of bring all of the, like, we don't need to have rich people.
No,
I want everyone to be rich.
Yeah.
So there are people in that top versus bottom thing that are more of like the Marxist shit where they want to bring everyone down. I'm not like that. I want everyone to go up.
Yeah.
But anyway, that was a bit of a diversion. But
well, no, but I mean, with capitalism, you can do that. I mean, obviously, it is tilted and slanted a certain way. That's corporate greed that helps do that.
Yeah.
I prefer our system better than other countries, and I've been to multiple countries, and these countries are cool, and it works for them, and it's great for them. I'm not downing them. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
But we don't. It's not here. It's not here yet, and hopefully it won't happen. You know,
I was trying to think about, like, is there one? If I could change one thing in our government structure that would make a difference, one thing, and that's it. And there's a million things that need to be fixed.
Sure.
I was thinking about this the other night for some reason. Is when it comes to corporations, the government or people saying too big to fail.
Yeah.
That's been that one thing. When it was the housing crash in 2008.
Or the bank crisis.
Automotive crisis years ago, when they all but Ford got bailed out. Too big to fail has propped up companies that aren't being run well.
Right.
And it's devalued the dollar.
Yes.
So too big to fail shouldn't exist. If the mom and pop sandwich shop on the corner can fail, then General Motors can fail.
100%. I mean, if it's
run your company better.
Exactly. You shouldn't get a welfare check from the government because first of all, you're a huge corporation, and like the people that own it have a lot of money. And I'm not down on people for having a lot of money, but it's like it seems like it's run only to make sure that they have a lot of money.
Right.
You know, not like wages and stuff like that. I mean, they need to go up. Cost of living's gone up. It's it's not the 80s anymore. It's not the 90s anymore. It's different.
Dude, I worked for a company. It's been like 15 years ago now, and it was owned by an individual, and a medical device company that I worked for.
Yeah,
and it was like this little engine that could company. Like I was working in engineering, and I was an engineering manager. And but if we had a big order to get out on Friday, I was in the warehouse helping pack shit. Like it was really cool. And then it grew and moved to a bigger location in the DFW area. And then a couple of years after that, a venture capital firm came in and bought it.
Okay.
So just to be a page in their portfolio.
Right.
And shit changed overnight.
Sure. Yeah, of course.
Started treating people like shit.
Yeah.
People working long hours.
Taking away other benefits.
Like overnight. And anyone that, like, people that were there, like me, because I left, who were willing to give everything for this, because we worked for Michael. He owned the company.
Gotcha.
I made that name up. And that, like, no, we got to, he's taking care of us. We got to do this. But then this venture capital firm comes in, and we're just numbers on a piece of paper.
Well, that's the thing.
It's like, fuck these guys.
When it's personal, you have something inside of you that's like, I want to be a part of the team.
Yeah.
I want to make sure, I want to see this guy succeed. Same thing with me. It's like I own my own business. I own my own tattoo shop. And it's scary. You know, it's scary. It's like, first of all, I didn't realize how many fucking taxes and shit I had to pay. Like,
no kidding. Right?
Yeah. Oh man. Like it's definitely, me and my wife have like learned quite a bit when it comes to running a mom and pop shop. And it's family owned and operated.
Yeah.
And some weeks it's beneficial, but we don't dip our hands in the cookie jar, man. Like I work, 4 or 5 days a week. I'm not there all the hours all the time. I usually just knock up my appointments because I want to make sure that the workers the crew that I work with, which by the way is the best fucking crew I've ever worked with. They're so awesome. I want them to reap the benefits of customers coming in, and we treat people right. I always told people, my coworkers, I'm like, hey man, because they're my coworkers. I'm not the fucking boss.
Right.
They are my coworkers. That's the way I look at it. And that let's treat people with respect. Let's do good tattoos. Let's be fair. Like that's how it should be. I mean, and we will all reap the benefits of this, you know.
Right.
Tattooing's weird. It's in a weird little spot right now, you know. It's like you have all these like kind of like independent boutique shops, which are kind of starting to go away because the COVID money's going away.
Right.
So they're these people like, oh, well, I'm just going to open this little boutique shop. It doesn't even look like a tattoo shop. It looks like a hair salon or nail salon. You know what I mean? It doesn't even. It's got like a plant and a desk, and that's about it. No art on the wall or anything. Where we're like old school tattooers. You walk in, there's like taxidermy and like, you know, tattoo flash and just art like all over the wall. Like it makes it look like feel like an old school tattoo shop. But it's scary, man. Like it's scary owning my own business, man. Like there's some days where I told my wife, like, we should have never fucking opened this place. We should, you know, I should have just stayed a tattooer so I don't have 2 rents to worry about.
Right.
You know, but as much kind of stress as it gets, there's a lot of gratification I get from it too.
Yeah.
You know, when I leave and I lock up at night, I look at them and be like, man, this is my shop. This is great. Yeah. It's really good. It's like, it's kind of like I did, but it's like weird. We did this too, because like, I gotta get props to like, you know, Justin, Gally and Kaylee and my old business partner, Josh, you know, because it's like, we created this, you know, it's like, and it's a good feeling. And like I said, some weeks are a little stressful. Yeah. Some months are a little stressful, but some are like, oh shit, man, we're having a good week, man, you know? Yeah. And we're literally going week by week, you know, and it's okay. It's like, in fact, we're celebrating 3 years of this Saturday.
Oh, hell
It'll be
yeah.
3 years.
Congrats.
Thank you. And I'm stoked we're there. I mean, because a lot of businesses don't even succeed a year or two.
Yeah. That's I think generally like the first 2 to 3 years of opening a new business are in the red and just hanging on for dear life. And then if you can make it past that point, then might be okay.
Yeah,
so
it's like
you made it a lot further than most small businesses do.
Thank you. And it's like, the thing is like, you don't, when I was just a tattooer and working for somebody else at another shop, I never thought about the AC, having to deal with the AC. If it broke, I was like, hey, the AC's broke. Now it's like, shit, the AC's broke.
Fuck.
Who can we call? What can we do? You know, like, which that happened to us at the beginning of the year. You know, the heater went out. We're like, what the fuck? Like, literally the heater goes out when it's the coldest possible in Texas right now.
Of course.
Like, you know, but we had to deal with it, you know, or I couldn't be open, you know, and the days that it wasn't working, we had fucking like little space heaters in there. Like we did whatever we could to
keep trucking.
I mean, and that's what I mean by having such a great crew of tattooers. These guys and girls are they're awesome, man, because they got to make money too. So they know they got to show up too, but it's like, they really are, they're the bread and butter of the shop. And I really can't thank them enough. I really can. It's been great, but we were talking about just being a mom and pop store in a business. It's definitely scary.
Yeah. I can imagine. I can imagine. Cause I've thought about that before. Like I've been in the corporate world my entire adult life, and there have been times where I had an idea or something, like, man, I should do my own thing. I should start to do that. And then I look at my fucking benefit statement and all that. It's like, also, kids I gotta feed. And
I mean, I know tattooers that have like fuck this shit, and they went and got another job.
Yeah,
you know, especially when I got, you know, because tattooing always goes up and down. It always goes up, and it has been the whole like 22, 23 years I've been in this business. Yeah, 25 years now. But it always goes up and down. And the ones that really give a shit about it and that really care about tattooing, they stick it out.
Find a way.
Yeah. These other kids that are like, you know, I don't want to work for you. You're mean. So they go open up their own little private boutique, and they have their little niche, and they have all these followers they bought on Instagram. So everybody thinks they're real popular and everything like that. And then they get an apprentice because they don't want to mop the floor.
Right.
So great. They just added another mouth to the food chain. You know what I mean? So it's just like, and I'm not downing people, teaching people how to tattoo, but there's plenty of us now. We don't need any more.
Right.
Just stop for a while.
Yeah, we're full.
Yeah, it is like overflowing. But like I said, I love how our conversations just kind of go in and out.
I feel
but I just enjoy talking to you though, man. You know what I mean? So
I feel like at the end of this, there's not anybody gonna, like when we said earlier that we never have a run sheet for the show. I don't think anybody that listens to this or watches on YouTube goes, no, I bet they do have a run sheet. There's no fucking way.
This is like ADD in real time with 2 people, real time ADD, man. So
exactly.
But whatever, it is what it is, man. It's so good to be back, man. It's been a while. while since we've done this.
Glad we're back at it. And we got to try to get some
get some more interviews going on.
Yeah, I've got a couple of music ones in the queue that I would love to announce, but not.
Not until we get them solid.
But we got a few in the queue ready to go. So
let's do it, man. I'm ready, man. Because, like I said, this is it's pseudo political, but I think it's kind of more musical because of our music history, playing in bands, stuff like that.
Yep.
But I like the fact that we can sit here and talk and bullshit about politics and bullshit about differences that we have, and it's funny because we actually agree on a lot of shit. Yep. I was hoping to fucking fight and argue with you, but I can't. Like, we could be like, yeah, all right, well, but this just shows like this is a normal conversation between two people that see eye to eye on some things and maybe not some things, and this is a true conversation. It's organic, it's natural. I appreciate that. I appreciate you, man.
If you're not letting CNN and Fox spoon feed you, we're most people.
Yeah,
I really think that.
Yeah, I agree.
That there's people that worship fringes and whatever, they do their thing, but I think we're most people. It's just a lot of people don't realize that we're more alike than not. So
yeah, I agree. Man, thanks for tuning in. We're so glad you guys are watching. Sorry it has been in quite a while. We're going to try to get on the every week, every other week kind of podcast thing. Obviously, adulting is it's a hard thing.
Yep.
It is what it is. Dave, always a pleasure talking to you, brother.
Likewise.
Always a pleasure.
Cheers, everybody.
Of our Lord 2020, I think that the month it was March. For humanity's sake, we were asked to partake and to break down the arc of the arch. The rogues did resist, and the scoundrels insist to engage was far too tall a task. So do not disturb or get kicked to the curb. Ain't no mention or bother to ask. Lady Liberty go? Oh dear, she packed up and hightailed it out of here. The silence was silent, the sidelines were full, and the stands there were standing room only. A spectator sport that you couldn't cut short in a league where you're left out and lonely. Some may look inward and some would dig deep. Others would just look around them. Keep your eyes on the shepherd and not on the sheep. Just be happy you finally found them. Oh no, where did Lady Liberty go? Oh yes, she's out of here, we don't know where, and it appears that you could care less. Good day and God bless. Lost desperate kisses just above ground. Where did you go when you're gagged and you're bound? Good day, we said good day, and we'll see you around.
The locks, they were locked and the latches were latched on the cage and the cuffs and the casket.